A lot of times as designers, we end up being a sole entrepreneur or a freelancer or the sole individual that's in the design or creative department. But sometimes you end up working inside of a design team with more than just yourself. Sometimes it's 2 or 5 or 10 or 20. What do you do when you are part of a design team and you guys all need to collaborate and not have duplicates and overwriting of each other's files and deleting files and losing information? How do you play nice together? Well, maybe, just maybe, Figma is the solution for you. We'll take a look right now. Figma is a really interesting new take on a design software, and I wanted to get my hands on it and do kind of like a hands-on review for those of you out there who are thinking, is this something that I would use in my development team, in my design team? You can go to their website at figma.com and download a free trial of it and check it out and play with it. It's going to feel really familiar to a lot of other modern design softwares that are out there right now, like Adobe Experience Designer or Sketch or the new free Gravit Designer. A lot of those are interesting takes on the same thing. Each of them bring kind of some different and unique features, and Figma is bringing that collaborative element. So let's dive in right now and let's check out Figma. So like I said, you can go to figma.com and it'll give you all the information you need about using Figma and what it's built for. You can use it directly in the browser, or you can download it for Mac, Linux, or Windows, and all you have to do is sign up for an account. I already have an account which I've signed up for, so if I wanted to use it in the browser, all I would have to do is sign in, or I've downloaded it and I can actually open it up locally on my machine. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to come down to my dock and I'm going to open up Figma, and you can see it looks, after you kind of get over that, kind of browser-based thing, when you're looking at the interface, it looks like a fairly standard design software program. Like if I click on items, I have an information panel down here on the right, I have a whole set of tools up here on the left-hand side, and I have a layers panel similar to Sketch if you've ever used that, down the left-hand side. And so that's really great. I can lock and hide my layers just like, any other design software out there. And I have my, all of my options for the application itself and all my tools. Okay, so this is really interesting. What might look or feel a little bit different than other things or other softwares you've used in the past is it has this kind of Google Docs element up here where I can see who is currently looking at this document, okay? So as other people are using it, their avatars and their account information will show up here. I can also share, which is really similar to Dropbox if you've ever used it, where I can share with somebody and I can give them kind of like permissions. This is great for clients or for individuals on your team that don't have the responsibility of actually manipulating or editing files. It's nice to not even allow some people to have access to the responsibility of manipulating designs. So that's really cool that you can share. Let's see, we have our view settings. Okay, so that's going to pertain to the actual canvas or the artboards itself. So that's good. And you can see, I think each artboard is represented by one of these layers. So everything is kind of layer based. I really love the artboard kind of setup because you can zoom out and you can really get a good understanding of an entire app, like holistically, or a website as you're building it, and not just be thinking about this file, that file. It's really easy to kind of like work that way. So now we're going to just go through the interface and see what it has to offer. Let's start with the tools panel. I'm going to go ahead and delete this right here, and I'm going to press Z and hold it down and just bring up that zoom tool. So that's similar to a lot of other design platforms. Let's see what we have underneath the arrow. We have the move tool, which is literally you just grabbing things. It's your black arrow in Photoshop, your main kind of pointer clicker tool. But then underneath that we have the scale tool, which is really interesting. Scale is really important because it keeps things in consistent proportions to their original proportions, but like it denotes, it just scales everything down. But I like that it has its own individual tool. I don't have to hold shift or anything. I'm literally just scaling the whole thing down. Wow, that is really nice. I think I'm a huge Sketch user. In Sketch they have the scale command, so you can actually scale things and do it that way. But I like having an individual tool that I can just grab and move around. I mean, I can still mess with it up here in the information panel, if I wanted to mess with the width or the height, but that scale tool is really, really nice. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my move tool. I'm gonna undo everything I did and just get, yep, that's nice. Just Command Z like any other program to go backwards. Then we have the frame tool. I'm guessing frame is what we would consider like a canvas. So I can just drag out a frame, quote unquote a frame, or if I click the frame tool again, I can just choose like a device size, or let's see, is there a hotkey for frame? Yeah, of course it's F, you know, so we can just choose F. And I can do, I'm gonna go to desktop and give me a desktop HD. There we go. So that's a nice 1440 by 1024. It's a good place to start kind of creating a website from. So your frames are your canvases, and you can see them all show up over here. That's the big kind of like crosshatch, almost hashtag looking element. Actually, it's a frame icon. I don't know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna delete that. That's just creating new frames, new canvases. Gotta get used to that lingo. So here comes all of our shape elements. Okay, so I can draw rectangles, and you know, the color picker's nice. It's nice and clear. So okay, good. We'll get to more of that later. But you can draw out all these different shapes. The star tool. Okay, you can do it in proportion by holding down Shift. That's really, really nice. Okay, and just highlight those and delete those. And then we have the place image tool. So it's just going to go and look for an image. And I kind of like this. This is kind of reminiscent of like Adobe InDesign, where you are going to be placing or inserting an image, and you get that image on your cursor, and when you click, it actually, wow, it drops in place. Okay, so that's kind of nice. It doesn't just kind of smack it into place. Then you can scale the photo down. But I thought I noticed something interesting this is really interesting. Okay, so without holding Shift, as you just kind of like change the size of the photo, it's not distorting the photo, it's actually auto cropping it per the dimensions. This kind of tells me that you don't even need masks. You just, if you want an image, well, I'm sure they probably have the ability to mask things. Let's see, what's this over here? Edit object, create component. Yeah, they have masks, but for quick masks, you could just, like for instance, if we were going to create a iPhone 7 frame and we wanted this to be like a header inside of our iPhone 7, we could just place the image, right? And not even have to worry about creating a mask. Now it's just an image. Oh, that's really cool. Good job. Good job, Figma. That's an interesting feature. I like that. Image tool. Okay, we have the pen tool. So let's, you know, every design software needs a pen tool. And this one is as standard as you would really hope, with the closing symbol like that. And then I can go back and hold down Command, and there we get our handles. So that's really nice, just to soften edges. So that's cool. And what if I want to change an edge? I just go to my pointer tool. That's the quick key for that is V, like most other, you know, design platforms. But here comes our vector-based editing. Okay, good. Everything's seeming pretty good, you know, like it works like a normal pen tool. I like it. Okay, great. But what do we have over here? We have the pen tool, then we had the bend tool. What is the bend tool? Oh, is that what we're calling the handles? Or I can grab things not by actual points or handles, but just by the edge, and it'll do the handle work for me. That's kind of nice. That's kind of interesting. It seems like Figma has thought about some of those pain points for the designer and has helped to just kind of smooth some of those pain points. What's this thing over here? Some vector shape. What's mirror angling? I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm not 100% sure. Mixed mirror angling. Okay, we have some effects. What are the effects down here? We have drop shadow, inner shadow, layer blur, background blur, which is super helpful nowadays to create kind of those iOS blur effects. So, okay, so that's interesting. The pen tool seems pretty good, pretty standard. Text tool. Okay, so text is really important. Let's do some text and put, you know, freelance designer. Okay, great. Here we go. So here come our text tools. We have the text selector. We have no previews of the actual kind of typography, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can't, I'm trying to like arrow through them right now, and you can't do that. Seems like you must know what kind of typography you want to use. Okay, so let's drag this on top and let's fill it with white, and let's make this text bigger. So we can't arrow though the like these other values, like values inside of the information panel. So that's good. We have transform, like uppercase, but it's not doing it. Okay, so let's get like a normal. Can I type in here and just go Helvetica. Okay, great. Thank you. Helvetica, bold. Let's just do bold. And can we get it? Okay, we can. So transforming uppercase, lowercase, all your goodies in here. Then you have font features, discretionary and horizontal ligatures. Oh, okay, that's nice. Well, there's like a nice amount of time and effort and thought put into typography. That's good. We can do things in fractions. Okay, all small caps, subscript. Okay, that's great. Proportional lining. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, so this is going to change like the scale of the typography in there. That's really good. And we can display all Google web fonts, so very web-based, very good. So we can fill things. We have our alignment tools. We have our leading and kerning and all that good stuff, line height, whatever you want to call it. And then you have your stroke and your effects and your export options. This is interesting though. So you have pinning options. So, okay, so we have some kind of like responsive design kind of forethought put into the software. You know, people are starting to understand that you want to kind of have control over the responsive constraints of designs nowadays. So if I were to group Command G and put these together, what happens here? Like stretch that out. That is moving, but the other's not. Okay, so I can center and center both of these, and okay, interesting. Now, how about the image? Can I get the image to stretch to the left and to the right? How do I do that? Scale? Left and right, I want it to scale, and I want it to stay center. Ah, there we go. So you can just, this is our little kind of constraints grid right up here. And to get things to stretch, you know, horizontally, but not vertically, we scaled it left to right and we centered it, you know, vertically. So that's good, that's cool. I feel like that's intuitive, that makes sense. That's okay with me, I don't mind that. We can grab two things, and is there alignment? Alignment here at top left, okay, so align center and center. That's really good. Okay, let's talk about multiple fills on images real quick. I'm on this image or any type of shape, and you get the options for more fills. So it's a really like standard thing nowadays where I can put I don't want a gradient, I want a solid color, I want it to be black, and I want it to be 10%. We can up it to 20%. We also, what is this over here? We have, oh, okay, we have all of the blending modes and stuff that are found in here, and you can turn that thing on and off. How do you get rid of a layer? Like if I create this layer, how do I get rid of it? It's just always going to get rid of the top one, and I can't drag these around, or what? I don't know, that feels a little funky to me. So, okay, moving on, what else we got? Typography's good. Let's talk about kind of like Pathfinder features. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, I'm going to draw another rectangle, I'm going to make one of them red, I'm going to lay them over each other, and we get create component. Okay, well, I'll get to you in a second. We can mask things, okay, that's nice. And now you have all of your kind of like, ooh, highlight those again, whoa, all of your like Boolean functions, okay, so like union them, make them one shape. We could subtract them, okay, standard, like we can intersect and we can exclude. And interesting, okay, they put this right here, you can flatten the path. So let me look and see. So that is now one image, but when I do the rest of them, like highlight, take back the destructive editing that I did. Okay, no, we are, I see. It's the icon changes per the last thing you did, and I feel like that's not very intuitive. That just tricked me. I literally was like, where'd all the Pathfinder tools go? Where'd all those tools go? So when I unionize something, it still stays as like a smart object, and I can still move them around by clicking into this group that it's made, but it just now becomes one group. Okay, so that's pretty good, pretty standard. I like it so far. Okay, so let's see what else we got. I saw some component stuff. So it has kind of a short key or a hotkey of Command-Shift-K. Okay, so let's say I want to take this status bar. Do we have like components? Where's my team library? Shared components. Okay, I want to create a team here real quick. Oh boy. It's gonna make me log in. I'm gonna call it Design Ruse. Okay, I'm creating my design team. invite some coworkers, okay. Invite to the team, new team project, test project, bam. Okay, so interesting, we have a new file, and now I'm editing in the browser. How did that happen? Holy cow. Okay, so I guess it's just you need like a component library and you define that per team. So that's interesting. You could have multiple teams and I can have a different one component library for this team versus the other team. So that's interesting. Let's make an artboard here and just put some garbage on it. And let's make this into, okay, now we have a component library. Let's turn this into a component. Okay, we call that rectangle component. Okay, share components across your team by publishing them to the team library. Yeah, okay, I'm adding it to the library. Publishing. Publish changes. Oh boy, I don't know what just happened. Okay, so now that I've done that, if I look in my component library, I have the rectangle I just made. Okay, so let's go back now. Let's look in a component library here. We have a rectangle. We can just drag one of those out and put it on the screen, and I can what? Drag this little panel anywhere I so choose? Well, that's nice. Okay. So the question becomes, let's sync it back the other way. Okay. If I change this component to be orange, how do we? Can I right click? I have my team library. How do I change it? Very interesting. What is this? Back to files here. This is our project. How do I change my design library like component? How do I update? I want to update this component. Well, this is getting hard here, folks. Publish in team library. Ah, there it is. So I just publish it. The rectangle it says will be updated to the library. So I'm going to publish the change. Okay. And now when I go back to the browser, if I access my team library, there it is in real time. So I could see you having all of like your iconography in here and like all of your design components, right? So I could create like an avatar. Let's do an avatar. Place an image. Let's just do, here we go. We'll use this as the avatar. We'll put it right in there. Ah, that was really nice too. Can we back up? I did not see that before. You can create a shape, a circle, a square, a star, whatever you want. And when placing, you can roll over that shape and just drop it right into the shape. And then again, as you transform it, it stays, perfect and all that good jive. So, okay, we have an avatar and I want to publish in the team library. I make this a component, create component. Bam, I created a component. Okay, and I want to publish in the team library. Configure. Ellipse, yes, I want that in. Done. Publish the change. Good, one change successfully published to the team library. Okay, and it's updating here. And I can drag one of them. You can't add an instance of a shared component into the document from which the shared component was published. Really? So what, if I delete that, now can I drag one in? What? What are you talking about? That makes no sense. If I create an instance here, okay, let's just look at our components. You can't add an instance of a shared component into the document from which the shared component was published. Duplicate the component to create a local instance instead. I would love to, but I can't get in. That's a little bit confusing. I'm sure I'm going to figure that out later, but I'll just tell you the share options are a little bit confusing. Maybe we'll figure those out a little bit better. Okay, I want to know how I get to the versions. How do I get to versions? It tells me I can see like all the versions of it, but how? Share, test. How do I see my versions? Show version history. Bam. Okay. Not much has changed, but we can go back. So versioning seems pretty good. I'm still a little bit lost as to why I can't create like a shared component and then keep reusing that component in the same document. That seems stupid to me. It seems like it has all the stuff that you would want from a design software. The collaborative and sharing and versioning stuff seems a little interesting, as well as the component stuff, but we're gonna try to build something in it right now, and I'll let you know how it felt when I'm done making something. So I'll talk to you guys in a couple minutes. Okay, so that's it. That is a first-hand look and hands-on review of Figma, a collaborative design software for design teams. Is it any good? Is it the right one for you? Time for my final thoughts. Here's what I think. First, let's talk about the things that I like about it. I like that it's cross-platform. I like that you could use it on Mac or Linux or in the browser. I think that brings up a lot of possibilities for design teams, remote working, really just like bringing everybody to the same platform to do really, really good work. Which brings me to the second thing I really like. I really like the possibility of sharing. I like giving people certain types of permissions into the document, and I like being able to work in real time and go back and see other versions. I really, really like that. I think it'll save a lot of hassle of who has this file, did you update that file, yada, yada, yada. I think this would also be really good for maintaining like reusable design components like your icon library or your interface component library, and just keeping those things up to date. I'm not 100% sure how the syncing thing worked. I still had a problem with that and I couldn't figure it out. So maybe somebody could leave me a comment and tell me how you properly sync things and create components without it giving you that error. But I like the idea of it. I think that if we could work those things out, that it would be really, really awesome. And I think that it's a full-featured, full-formed. I like that it's vector-based. I liked some of the small kind of additions they had to things like the pen tool and being able to grab a side of a shape and kind of move it out how you want. And I think that the image placement and some of those other features are really well thought out. They're really easy. Now the things that I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of some of the user interface of the actual design tool itself. The information panel seems to have a lot of convoluted information in there. So for instance, if I want to create like a drop shadow to make like a one-sided border, I can create that drop shadow, but then to manipulate the drop shadow, I have to go another 1 or 2 kind of clicks in. So that's like 2 or 3 clicks to do one thing versus create it, manipulate it. I feel like that's just not as quick and intuitive as it should be. Secondly, it didn't seem to have a duplication kind of system in place. Like I want to create one reusable interface and then I want to quickly make that into a grid of things, or like I know Adobe's Experience Designer has, like you can create something and then just drag them out. It's like a duplicate tool, and if I make changes in one, it changes everything. This doesn't seem to have something like that, and it's kind of a bummer because when you're creating, especially if this is designed for, you know, creating websites or applications, reusable interface components are super duper important. I don't know, maybe it's out there, maybe it's in this program and I couldn't find it or figure it out. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments how to actually do that. Next, I would say that I'm not a huge fan of the syncing process and the shared library. I hit a lot of errors trying to create components, thinking that I would just like create a component and it would be stored somewhere. I'm not 100% sure how that workflow is supposed to go, like create a component, but then I can't use it in the artboard or in the frame or the project really at all that I was just making it on. So that's really weird to me. And that seems counterintuitive to quick production. So all that being said, I think it is good. I think you could start using it right now to build websites and applications. I think that it's really good for a lot of things like icon design and web design and app design. So far, you know, it seems pretty good. I think that they could probably use a little bit of work on their team management and that whole kind of situation, but for the most part, Figma, I give it some thumbs up. I think it's pretty good. I don't want to say how many thumbs up, but I think I give it some thumbs up. I would approve. Well, who would I recommend it to, I guess is the next question. If you find yourself having more than 2 or 3 versions, files of versions in your design team, maybe give this a try. If you are a new designer and you don't want to pay for something and you want to try something right away, I would give this a try. Or if you work collaboratively from time to time with other people, you might want to implement this into your tool belt, like have it sitting in your dock and use it for those individuals. So right now, Figma, good, not for me, but pretty awesome. So good job to the Figma team, I guess. And to those of you that are using Figma, I would love to hear your thoughts on why you're using it, how it works for you, and what things am I missing here. If you like this video, please let me know. Maybe give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I like to do a lot of like design software reviews and design and development kind of tutorials. So if you'd like to see more of those, make sure you kind of hang around and check out some other stuff. I hope you guys are having an amazing week. I hope you're designing amazing stuff. I hope you're making amazing stuff. And I hope this video was helpful to you guys. And I'll talk to you guys next time. See you later.